Let me get into this brief, quick intro of our guest of honor, our camp guest today. He's a graduate of Del Campo High School, graduated of 1998. After that, he went on to play 4 years at UCLA. After that, he was a second-round draft pick of the Memphis Grizzlies, the number 46 pick in the 2002 draft. Played over a decade in the NBA. As you know now, you guys may find him on TV up in smoke. You may find him coaching his not-so-young sons anymore, but also you find him back here home in Sacramento doing some interviews, live game broadcasts as well. And also just, I'm glad Sam and him and Chris, they offered to come here and do the camp. I appreciate it. But also, if you guys watch this game, right, on and off the court, he's the same dude. Same dude, always been that way, but also put a lot of effort to the game. None other than Matt Barnes. Matt, thanks for coming. Thanks for having the camp.
Thank you for having me.
You guys give Matt a round of applause. So as we jump into a few of these questions, man, one of the things is coming from not being born in Sacramento, but Santa Clara, but coming to Sac. What was that transition like at an early age coming to Sacramento, and what part of town did you grow up in?
Yeah, I was born in San Jose, California, to a really diverse community, and I moved up to Sacramento at about 8 or 9, and it was a culture shock. Moved into a pretty nice neighborhood in Fair Oaks, but for the first time I was around a lot of white kids, and I had never been around white kids. I went to school with white kids for the first time, so I faced a lot of racism growing up. So I really had, at an early age, had to kind of find my path and understanding of adversity at a young age. So I was able to do that, move past that. Went to Del Campo High School, played all 4 sports, football, basketball, baseball, track, was an All-American in basketball and football, and decided to go to UCLA for college.
That's what's up. A lot of people probably don't remember, well, the young ones won't know about your football career, but even all sports, just generalized. We're 80s dudes, so during that time, everything was, you had to be busy. Not in the house, you're outside.
Yeah.
Mom, dad wasn't going for that, right?
Yeah.
But who are some of the athletes, because I mean, you named 4 sports, who are some of the ones you either want to model your game after or go out there and just emulate and try to be like at an early age?
Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, when we were younger, we weren't inside, we were outside all the time. So in baseball, I loved Ricky Henderson from the Oakland A's. Basketball, it was Magic Johnson. And then in football, it was Jerry Rice, Randall Cunningham, and Bo Jackson.
That's what's up. And for you guys that don't know, Google those people. Those are all-time greats, Hall of Famers in their selected sports. Just growing up as far as the work ethic, right? Was that drive something early in your career that you installed, or did somebody help fuel that fire, or what put it in you? Because to be an All-American, it's a 0.1%, right?
Yeah.
What put that jetpack in your back, or what made you go?
I just think seeing my surroundings, seeing a lot of friends get in trouble, to gangs, drugs, violence, having a tough upbringing, I just knew that sports was my outlet. So, I was one of those strong thinkers. Although I had a lot of friends that did a lot of things that I may not have done, and they were still my friends, I just knew what my focus was going to be. Like I said, it was either going to be football or basketball that was going to give me an opportunity to go to college and hopefully turn pro. So that was my goal, was just to get out. You know what I mean? I'd been in Sacramento for about half my life at that point, and I wanted, a new experience. I was an All-American in football and basketball. I was recruited by every school in the country for both sports. I went to UCLA when I was 14 for an AU tournament, and I saw the palm trees and the sun and the sand and the women, and I just knew I had to go to UCLA. So I was one of those rare athletes, again, that I got recruited by everyone, but I didn't take no trips to no schools because I was always playing sports, and I knew that I wanted to go to UCLA.
Back then, was it Ed O'Bannon, Charles O'Bannon?
Yeah, Toby Bailey,
all them. Yeah. I'm a UCLA fan for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you had to grow to become 6'7", 6'8", but early on, what were the things you worked on to make sure you stay on the floor? Because again, as we know now, right, we're seeing some kids are doing some things that they probably are game reps or not game reps. What are some things you had to work on to bring to the floor for your coach to make sure you were mainstay on the court?
I played every sport, and I spoke the first day of camp that I think that all you guys should play multiple sports until you really find out what your niche is. Because I feel like football helped me with basketball. The hand-eye coordination from baseball helped me with basketball. Obviously, track and field, that speed helped me with basketball. So I wasn't necessarily someone that, a lot of you guys are working out with trainers at this age. Like, When I tell you I didn't work out basketball-wise until I was in the NBA. Like, I played a lot. I played at Parks from the time I was 14 through college in Sacramento. Always played pickup games, but I never really worked, because working on your game is kind of new. Like, we grew up just playing basketball. Now you guys are specializing in training, and sometimes I think the training is overkill, to be honest with you, but I think all the different sports I played helped me, become a pro in basketball.
That's what's up.
We're in a state now in the world in gang sports, mental health is big, right?
Yeah.
But the adversity, I believe that we had to face, you had to face going through that too. The character helped you are the person you are today. But if you can share maybe some type of adversity you have, because I mean, everybody sees successes, right? We see the highlights on Instagram, we see the fun stuff. But if anything you may share you had to overcome, is it an injury, is it some people take losses, something you may have to overcome because you could have easily put the ball down or the ball down and stopped.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of different things. I think first in high school, again, I faced a lot of racism in elementary school, and it kind of died out. And then my senior year, faced some more racism, where someone was harassing my little sister, calling her racial slurs. And as a big brother, I had to protect her. So as a big brother, I did what I was supposed to do, beat the guy up. And while I was suspended, the KKK came and nearly burned my high school down. So that was one thing where, they had a green light on my head, they tried to kill me. I had to move to a whole different city. So that was something I had to overcome. But to me, I always use adversity as fire to keep pushing instead of an excuse to quit. At the beginning of my career, I got drafted and then I got cut and I had to go to the G League. And the G League was nasty at the time. We were staying in nasty hotels, 8 to 10 hour bus rides, not making no money. And I knew I was better than that. So, again, got to work and used that, that fallback as something to push me forward. And from there, I was able to play 15 years in the NBA. And then I think also losing my mom during my 5th season in the NBA. My mom died from cancer. She was diagnosed November 1st and died November 27th. So in 26 days, I lost my best friend, and that was tough. So I've always used adversity as, obviously you mourn and you care and you look at things, but I never use it to hold me back. I always use it to push me forward.
Sorry to hear about moms. My mom just beat hers 2 years ago, but everybody's story is different, man. That changed the game. I tell my boys, like, coach now, it's about life. The basketball is great, but that family thing. But let's talk about family real quick, though, man. Just how important is the family to you personally, man? Because I can always see that people now, of course, you see people now with their kids also, but your boys, and they've been around you. I mean, that ain't nothing new, right? They're getting exposure now, but I mean, how important is the family to you overall?
I mean, family is everything. You guys have kind of seen the twins grow up, or, your parents have kind of seen the twins grow up, because I've always posted them since they were peeing on themselves in their diapers. But, now they're 14, about to be freshmen. I got other family here, cousins here, nephews here, stepdaughters here. Family is everything, We have a huge blended family of 6 kids, which is hell, from ages 4 to 14. We got 5 boys and 1 girl, and it's the Black Brady Bunch. It's every day is a new adventure. And for the families here, we actually just signed a new deal with WeTV, so we're coming out with a family TV show this fall. So be looking out for our family, the Barnes Bunch. Will be on WeTV this fall. So be checking out for that.
That's what's up. Making moves together. Rest and recovery, man. Athletes.
Huge.
How important is that? Even, like you said, more so now with kids only doing one sport, tearing their muscles up so much to where there is no rehab, recovery, or rest. But what do you suggest, or how important should you feel they need to take that to get healed, get better, produce?
Well, I think it's huge, first and foremost, but I think the parents also have to be educated, understanding don't make it a job early. You know what I mean? Don't force your kid to do anything, you know what I mean, except be a good person and a great student. I think too often parents force their kids into stuff and vicariously try to live through kids, which to me is sending the wrong message. But then also the kids that do work out a lot or play multiple sport, rest is very important. Rest is very important. You see a lot of injuries in the NBA now because I feel like this newer generation, sports is year round. Like when we played basketball was only for like 3 months a year. And that's why we played so many other sports, because you had to find something else to do during the downtime. So rest and recovery is something that I always preach to obviously my kids and my team, the recovery and the mental side of games. So you guys need to make sure you stretch, make sure you eat right, make sure you're hydrated. Make sure if you have injuries, you take care of those injuries, because all that stuff adds up. You only get one body. And if you beat it up now, you're not going to have anything to look forward to when you get older. So rest, recovery, and the mental aspect of the game. The mental aspect is something that I preach all the time, because once you get to my level in the NBA, everybody is good. But what keeps you there is, again, I was a second-round pick who got cut and had to grind, but I lasted longer than first number one picks. I lasted longer than lottery picks. I lasted longer than a lot of guys better than me, because I had the mental part down and understood what my role was and executed my role no matter what team I was on. So recovery and the mental aspect of the game has nothing to actually do with being on the court and dribbling the ball and getting shots up. That's a whole nother level of the game that you guys also need to understand.
Real quick, I want to jump into being the dad part of this, man. You talked about the twins. How much of how do you separate the father and the trainer, the coach, consistently to keep that relationship together between your young men? Because you are raising young minority males in a world where you've been through and you've seen change. How do you balance that, and how's it going for you at this point?
That's definitely a challenge. That's a good question. I retired in 2017, and from there I started coaching my boys, and I think they were like 7 or 8 at that time. So it was just always, kind of nurturing them and bringing them up in the game. But being father is kind of that thin line. I definitely didn't want to show favoritism. I didn't want to give them too easy, because I knew that I wasn't always going to be their coach. So I just tried to, again, give them the mental side of the game and how to approach the game and how to understand the game, but not be overkill on the game, because I am someone who played, and at the same time, it's a new generation, so the way I came up playing and the things I did don't necessarily apply to this generation. So again, I'm learning on the fly with them as a process, but I really feel like, obviously, with everything I've been through, I can give them, tremendous opportunity, but from there, it's up to them to succeed. And, really happy for them that they're kind of starting to, or have, fell in love. I think in the last year and a half, they've fallen in love with the game and have been putting in the work in, and I consistently can see them getting better. And I'm just really excited to see, what they have, ahead of them moving forward.
When you get to the league, man, who's as they say, your OG, or the guy who kind of looked out for you, or you kind of took under your wing? Because again, it's experience, right? You learn by experiences, and as we know right now, in the time with it, the money is 4 or 5, 10 times better, right?
Crazy.
I definitely wish we all could have got that bag.
Yeah.
But who was somebody you kind of hung under or stuck with or kind of looked after? Because you carved your own path too. You didn't do everything the traditional way, but you were a mainstay. Like I said, to play that long, everybody can't say that. But who was somebody you kind of throw a little love to?
Someone that looked out for me early on was a Sacramento King legend, Chris Webber. He was my OG, my big brother. He used to allow me to come up and work out at the King's facility right when I was out of high school, and when I was in UCLA. He used to, give me some bread when I needed it, would kind of treat me like a little brother. So when I became a King in the early 2000s, we got traded to Philly. Got a chance to play with Allen Iverson, but that was a whole new world out there. And I was 21, 22 years old on the East Coast for the first time, didn't have a jacket, didn't even know what cold weather was. And he was really kind of like the big brother, father figure that looked out for me and kind of showed me the ropes of the game, not only the game on the court, but the game off the court as well.
That's what's up. How would you rate this current league status in the NBA as far as how the game's excelled or changed like that? Where would you say it's at right now? Are we in good hands going forward? Do you like what's going on, what you're seeing?
Yeah. I love where the game is at. And you guys are the next generation to kind of pick the game up, but the game has changed. When I came in the game, it was a much more physical game, strong. You got to be really strong. We're playing against guys like Shaq, who were, in his prime, 380 pounds. Like, I'm 220 pounds. Like, he was a monster. So I love the way the game has transitioned. I wish there was still a little bit more physicality and defense, but that's just not where the game really is. But I think the game is in great hands. I feel like the skill level in the NBA is higher than it's ever been. But I also feel like the basketball IQ is not as high, because I feel like when this is a lot for kids right now and for parents, kids train all the time. And most of the time that's just them with the trainer. It doesn't really teach them how to play the game, how to move without the ball, how to screen, how to read stuff, how to react. A lot of kids become kind of programmed to just put their head down, dribble the ball, and shoot it. And that's a small part of the game. So I feel like, obviously, again, the skill level is very high. I think, the game always needs thinkers. So anyone who can think the game, but also play both sides of the ball now, because it used to be a necessity to play offense and defense. Now you only really have to play offense, but if you're someone who can play offense and play defense, you're gonna have a chance.
Yeah, two-way players. Let's talk about just rep hours, right? Like they say 10,000 hours it takes to perfect something, right? How much time do you say during your prime when you put in the gym? What was give us a little breakdown of what your workout schedule or training regimen was like.
Well, I was someone, again, I wasn't the most talented guy, but I had the most heart, and I was always someone who was in great shape. So I really took the summers, I really beat myself up in the summers, from running to boxing to weightlifting to skill work to pick up basketball. I mean, I would put a good 8 hours a day every day. Every day. I mean, I might take a weekend off, but sometimes I still might get shots up on the weekend, but that's just what you have to do. I was lucky to play. My job was to and I made millions of dollars to put a ball in the hoop. You know what I mean? And like you said earlier, the money is so much higher now, but I had to respect, and I had to honor the job, because there's always young kids coming up trying to take your spot. For me to be able to play 15 years, I had to work my butt off every single day. But again, I could have been sitting behind a desk, on a computer. So I'm super blessed. But again, I mean, if you guys get the opportunity to make sports a profession, whether it's this sport or other sport, don't cheat the game. One thing Kobe used to tell me is like he never cheated a day. And being around that guy, seeing how hard he worked, and he was already great, but to seeing how hard he worked was just a whole nother level. So that's one thing that I've learned, like, don't cheat the day. A lot of you guys like to be on your electronics, playing video games on your phone, and there's a ball sitting right next to you. There's a hoop right in your backyard, but you guys would rather be online the whole day playing video games or on your phone, and that's fine, because you can get paid to play video games, but if sports or basketball is your dream, you're not gonna have too much success if you don't put the work in.
You get in what you put out. Let's talk about this kind of environment, community though, man, because I was kind of in question, okay, you're gonna come, for myself, I wanted you gonna come an hour, 2 hours. The first day, Monday, you may sat down here 5 minutes and you had to get out there. Every day, the whole week, you've been out there either working, running a drill, getting reps up. What is the importance of you to actually get out there and get working, be a live body at your own camp, when you could come and leave or come and just sit, but to be active and also giving pieces and nuggets to the smallest to the biggest out here?
Yeah. I mean, I think I may be different than other athletes. I think it's our job to pour back in. I made it through, extraordinary circumstances to become a pro and play for as long as I did and win a championship and do a lot of good things. So now, through the help of my cousin, Christy and Sam, we put this camp idea together and had a great turnout this first year, and we want to continue to grow the camp. But I feel like if I'm out there playing with the kids or talking to the kids, that's an experience I know that I never got as a child. Like, I never got a chance. We didn't have no money, so I never got a chance to go to a camp, see no pro player, former pro player. Like, I never got that opportunity. So I definitely want to make sure that, KO, calm your little ass down, bro. I want to make sure that, if this is the one-time experience that they get a chance to meet a pro or be around a former pro, that, they remember that, hey, Matt was out there working with us, talking to us, and trying to help us get better.
Before we get to a few questions from the audience, man, at the end of my shows, they'll always ask my guests for their triple threat, right? We know drill, pass, shoot in the band basketball. But personally, give me 3 things that those who just now meeting you or somebody listening to this or watching it, what are 3 things you kind of hang your hat on, man? Like people like your morals, your values, your personal triple threat.
I think first and foremost, being a good person. I think some of the parents that come along or people who knew me would see me on the court, and I'm an animal on the court. I'll fight you, I'll slap you, I'll cuss a ref out, but that's just like the competitor in me. It's not the person I am, you know what I mean? So I think there's a misconception of, because I'm one way on the court, that I'm that way off the court. And everyone who knows me knows I'm very cool, laid back, relaxed. So I think that's one thing. I think really, just be honest with you, being a good person. I think that's the biggest thing I can give away. I tell the parents on the team that I coach, I don't have time to get your kid better as a skilled player because I'm super busy, but I can teach them the mental side, and I can help them become a better man. I made a lot of mistakes growing up. I didn't have a ton of guidance. I kind of had to learn on the fly, and I made a lot of mistakes I'm not proud of. But I think I've been able to learn from those, and understanding that being a good person does pay off. The fact that I was a role player for 15 years and now I'm working for one of the biggest networks in the world in ESPN and have one of the biggest shows in the world on Showtime, and I'm kind of moving around like I was a 10-time All-Star. And I wasn't a 10-time All-Star. I was just a real person. And I think what you see is what you get if you take a chance to get to know me. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised on the man I am. But I mean, again, a lot of mistakes came along the way, and I was able to learn from those mistakes. So if I can give you guys anything, to take with you, obviously, playing sports is great, but just being a good person, I feel like there's just so many negative, nasty, bad energy people in this world. If you can just be a good person, that's going to take you a long way.
That's what's up, man. Relationship building. All right, so we got a few minutes left, though. We'll take a couple questions from a couple campers in the audience. Anybody have a question they need to ask they didn't already ask? Coach, stand up. Stand up, Coach. Go ahead, be loud so we can hear you.
During your NBA career, you had to play against people like Yao Ming and Singular. How was it playing against people like that?
So in his career, playing against like Yao Ming, those big centers, how was it playing against those guys who were 7-footers?
Yeah, it's different. I came in the league and there was a lot of big guys, like real big guys. So playing against Shaq and Yao, and it was fun because, the goal was always to try to dunk on those guys. And I got one dunk against Yao on Yao, but those guys are big. And I remember playing against Shaq and then playing with Shaq. And Shaq is someone that is huge, but he'll also knock you out of the air and slam you on the ground. So playing against those guys is fun, but you got to be careful because those are big, real big men. You know what I mean? But when I came in the NBA, it was just a different game. It was a lot more physical, a lot more competitive on the defensive end, a lot more fights. It was just more, but I think now everyone knows each other. From the generation playing to you guys are getting a chance to. When I played AAU basketball, I didn't know who nobody was until I played them on the court. There was no internet, there was no nothing. So if someone was good in Oakland or someone was good in New York, I didn't know about him until we actually, we went head up. So I just think the competitiveness is different because, obviously everyone knows each other now, but yeah.
Also, I want to ask any parents around, any parent may have a question that's here, you feel free to ask a question as well. Yes, sir. Stand up, young man. Any teammate that he did not like, and what else was it? Oh, and how did you handle it? Good question.
That's a good question. I to be honest with you, every teammate I had, I really liked. Some guys I liked more. There was one person, someone asked me the other day who was one of my favorite teammates, and it was someone that I thought I wouldn't like, and it was JJ Redick. JJ's my guy, and you guys can see him on ESPN. We played together on the Clippers, but he went to Duke, and Duke guys are normally a little different. So I would see JJ thinking I know I'm not going to like this guy. And the second we became teammates, we became really close. And to this day, he's one of my closest former NBA teammates. So to answer your question, no. Even if you don't like guys, I think there's ways to still respect them. But I never really had an issue with any of my teammates. I was lucky. I was always cool. Everyone loved me because I was down for the team. You know what I mean? So I was one of those guys that you always wanted on your side. So I never really had no issues with teammates.
That's what's up. All right, so we're going to definitely, before we finish up, give a shout out to Coach Sam. Everybody give Coach Sam a round of applause, please. Coach Salmon, I know he's over there working, but Coach Salmon and I have been rocking 20 plus years, man. Solid dude. Just the opportunity to host the camp again. Thanks to Matt, thanks to Christy. I appreciate you guys' time and effort. One thing that we definitely want to stress overall, though, you guys, is the relationships as a group. Hopefully you guys met somebody here new that you can be friends with, associates with, get their contact information, and see and compete with now till the end of time. Because some of my high school friends, Coach Dave is my high school teammate, we've been best friends ever since. So the game of basketball can make you friends and bring friends to the table. So Coach Brian's my assistant coach over here. I've coached some other guys that are here today as well. So again, make sure you guys talk to somebody before you leave, man. Get a number, get a social media, whatever, and stay in touch with those people, all right?
Real quick before we get out of here, everyone give JT a big round of applause for giving us the gym. We couldn't have had this camp without the gym, so man, we appreciate that.
Sir.
Give one more round of applause for Coach Sam. Coach Sam did a great job of putting his team. Coach Sam and his whole staff, you staffed everybody, great vibe, all the videographers, everyone who pitched in and helped, we really appreciate it. You guys give your parents a round of applause.
Yeah, had to get here.
Give Christy Griffin in the hot red pants a round of applause. She did a good job of putting this together. Again, this is going to be an annual thing, so hopefully we'll see all you guys next summer. We're also going to do one in the Bay Area, and we're also going to do one in LA. So if you guys want to travel and follow us around, we'll make sure we put all the information out, and we want to continue to build this camp up. So again, thank you, players, staff, parents, JT for the facility, man. I hope you guys had a great time, and we'll see you guys next summer.
All right, we're gonna drop the full interview, camp highlights all on the right there. So you guys wanna follow the page on Instagram and YouTube, follow the page right there. So on Instagram, YouTube, all the camp highlights, videos will be up there real soon, all right? Appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, no doubt.
You tap in with you, man. Got some other shit I wanna connect to you about out here, yep.